Good morning, Eleanor. How are you today? What do you think it would be like if you were the size of an ant? Oh, just a little tiny ant. What if you were that big? Everything would look really different to you, wouldn't it? Things that look small to you right now would look really big. Well, the story I'm going to read you today is called Two Bad Ants by Chris van Allsburg. And the pictures that we're going to look at show what everything looks like to those ants. Two bad ants. So we're going to be kind of guessing where the ants are and what they're doing while Grandma's reading you the story. Let's see. The news traveled swiftly through the tunnels of the ant world. A scout returned with a remarkable discovery, a beautiful sparkling crystal. When the scout presented the crystal to the ant queen, she took a small bite and then quickly ate the entire thing. Whoa, that's what the crystal looks like. Kind of looks like a diamond to me, but I don't think you can eat a diamond. Wonder what that is. She deemed it the most delicious food she had ever tasted. Nothing could make her happier than to have more, much more. The ants understood. They were eager to gather more crystals because the queen was the mother of them all. Her happiness made the whole ant nest a happy place. There's the queen. She's the only ant that has wings. Look at that. All the scouts just look like regular ants that we're used to seeing. Oh boy, where are they now? Look at that. It was late in the day. Oh, I'm gonna have to turn it so you can see it without a glare. Long shadows stretched over the entrance to the ant kingdom. One by one, the insects climbed out, following the scout, who had made it clear there were many crystals where the first one had been found. But the journey was long and dangerous. They marched into the woods that surrounded their underground home. Dusk turned to twilight, twilight to night. The path they followed twisted and turned, every bend leading them deeper into the dark forest. Whoa, wait a minute. Those don't look like trees to me. Do they look like trees to you? I wonder what that kind of forest is. What would be a forest for ants? What do they crawl through that looks really big to them? More than once, the line of ants stopped and anxiously listened for the sounds of hungry spiders, but all they heard was the call of the crickets echoing through the woods like distant thunder. Dew formed on the leaves above, and without warning, huge cold drops fell on the marching ants. A firefly passed overhead that for an instant lit up the woods with a blinding flash of blue-green light. Can you tell what this stuff is that they're walking through? That's not trees, is it? They called it woods, but it's really grass. Grass looks really tall to ants. Oh, now where are they? Oh my goodness, look at this. Grandma's gonna have to move my chair a little bit and try to get a little more comfortable here. There, let's see. At the edge of the forest stood a mountain. Whoa, that doesn't look like mountains that we know, does it? What does that look like? Oh, that looks like your house. Look, it looks like bricks. And there's a dandelion and some grass. The ants looked up and could not see the mountain's peak. It seemed to reach right up to the heavens. But they did not stop. Up the side they climbed, higher and higher. There they go. The wind whistled through the cracks of the mountain face. The ants could feel the force bending their delicate antennae. Their legs grew weak as they struggled upward. At last they reached a ledge and crawled through a narrow tunnel. Oh boy, I wonder where they are. Oh my goodness. Look at that. It's a window, a big window, and look, here come all the ants, down, 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 lining up, walking along the edge. Where are they, Eleanor? Can you see? What's that? It looks like paper towels. And, oh, what's up there? Is that a clock? Oh my gosh. It is. When the ants came out of the tunnel, they found themselves in a strange world. Smells they had known all their lives, smells of dirt and grass and rotting plants, had vanished. And there was no more wind, and most puzzling of all, it seemed that the sky was gone. Oh my goodness. If they looked up, what would they see? What do you see when you look up in your kitchen? That's right, you don't see the sky, do you? You see the ceiling. They crossed the smooth, shiny surfaces and then followed the scout up a glassy, curved wall. They had reached their goal. From the top of the wall, they looked below to a sea of crystals. One by one, the ants climbed down into the sparkling treasure. Oh, I can't wait to see what that looks like. Oh, wow. Look at the sea of crystal. What do you think that is, Eleanor? Oh my gosh. Do you know what that is? I see a G-A-R. I bet, oh, sugar. Oh my gosh, it's a sugar bowl. Quickly, they each chose a crystal and then turned to start the journey home. There was something about this unnatural place that made the ants nervous. In fact, they left in such a hurry that none of them noticed the two small ants that got left behind. There they are in the sugar bowl. Why go back? One asked the other. This place may not feel like home, but look at all these crystals. You're right, said the other. We can stay here and eat this tasty treasure every day forever. So the two ants ate crystal after crystal until they were too full to move. Oh, each crystal of sugar is tiny to us, but it's really big to them. And they're eating and eating and eating their fill, and then they fall asleep. Uh-oh, what's going to happen in the morning? Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Daylight came. The sleeping ants were unaware of changes taking place in their newfound home. A giant silver scoop hovered above them and plunged deep into the crystals. It shoveled up both ants and crystals and carried them high into the air. What kind of a scoop comes down into sugar? Do you know what that is? Let's see what's going to happen next. The ants were wide awake when the scoop turned, dropping them from a frightening height. They tumbled through space in a shower of crystals and fell into a boiling brown liquid. Oh my goodness! Someone is dropping sugar into something brown and hot. Oh my gosh, look. I know what that is. Do you know what that is? And there's that scoop. That's a spoon, isn't it? Wow, I'll bet that's a cup of coffee. Oh boy. Then the giant scoop stirred violently back and forth. Crushing waves fell over the ants. They paddled hard to keep their tiny heads above water, but the scoop kept spinning the hot brown liquid. Around and around it went, creating a whirlpool that sucked the ants deeper and deeper. They both held their breath and finally bobbed to the surface, gasping for air and spitting mouthfuls of the terrible, bitter water. Oh my gosh, that's not water, it's coffee. Oh, the ants didn't like the taste. Now what are they doing? Oh my gosh, what is that thing? Oh, do you see that? A nose and stubble and lips? Uh-oh, somebody's drinking the coffee. Then the lake tilted and began to empty into a cave. The ants could hear the rushing water and felt themselves pulled toward the pitch black hole. What is that pitch black hole? Is that a cave? No, it's someone's mouth. Oh, goodness. Suddenly, the cave disappeared and the lake became calm. The ants swam to the shore and found that the lake had steep sides. Oh, look at, now we can see that is a coffee cup on a dish, isn't it? I think they were able to climb out. Oh my gosh, what's their next adventure going to be? They hurried down the wall that held back the lake, and suddenly the frightened insects looked for a place to hide, worried that the giant scoop might shovel them up again. Close by, they found a huge round disc with holes that could neatly hide them. Let's see what that is. Whoa. Whoa. Do you know where they are? Look at the round discs with holes. Uh-oh. That looks like a hot place. Where are they, Eleanor? But as soon as they had climbed inside, their hiding place was lifted, tilted, and lowered into a dark space. And when the ants climbed out of the holes, they were surrounded by a strange red glow. It seemed to them that every second the temperature was rising. Oh, where are they, Eleanor? That's inside a toaster. Oh my goodness, there are the slots. Wow. It soon became so unbearably hot that they thought they would soon be cooked. But suddenly the discs they were standing on rocketed upward, and the two hot ants went flying through the air. Whoa! The toaster popped the toast up, and over the edge went the ants. Now where are they? Do you know what that is? They landed near what seemed to be a fountain, a waterfall pouring from a silver tube. Both the ants had a powerful thirst and longed to dip their feverish heads into the refreshing water. They quickly climbed along the tube. As they got closer to the rushing water, the ants felt a cool spray. Whoa. They tightly gripped the shiny surface of the fountain and slowly leaned their heads into the falling stream. But the force of the water was too much. It was just too strong. You know what that is, don't you? That's the faucet at the kitchen sink. They're very thirsty, but they're falling down into the sink, and uh-oh. What's in the bottom of the sink? Oh dear. Oh dear, I think you have one in your sink. Do you know what that is? Let's see. The tiny insects were pulled off the fountain and plunged down into a wet, dark chamber. They landed on half-eaten fruit and other soggy things, and suddenly the air was filled with loud, frightening sounds. The chamber began to spin. Oh no, around and around and around. Loud noise. Do you know what that is? That's a garbage disposal in the sink. The ants were caught in a whirling storm of shredded food and stinging rain. And then, just as quickly as it had started, the noise and the spinning stopped. Bruised and dizzy, the ants climbed out of the chamber. Oh, these two bad ants. They should have gone home, shouldn't they? Where are they going to go next? Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, what is that? Do you know what that is? Something is plugged in there. That's an electric socket. Uh-oh. In daylight once again, they raced through puddles and up a smooth metal wall, and into the distance they saw something comforting. Two long, narrow holes that looked like their old underground home. They climbed up into the dark openings. Uh-oh. But there was no safety inside those holes. A strange force passed through the wet ants, and they were stunned senseless and blown out of the holes. Like, phew! Out they went. The electricity just shot them right out like bullets from a gun. And when they landed, the tiny insects were too exhausted to go on. They crawled into a dark corner and fell fast asleep. They have had not an adventure but a nightmare, haven't they, these poor ants? Well, night had returned when the battered ants woke to familiar sounds. The footsteps of their fellow insects returning for more crystals. The two ants quickly slipped to the end of the line. They climbed the glassy walls and once again stood amid the treasure. But this time they each chose a single crystal and followed their friends back home. Standing on the edge of their ant hole, the two ants listened to the joyful sounds that came from below. They knew how grateful their mother queen would be when they gave her their crystals. At that moment, the two ants felt happier than they had ever felt before. This was their home. This was their family. And this was where they were meant to be. And I think that's the end of the story of the two bad ants. Oh my goodness. Wasn't that a silly story? Everything looks different when you're teeny tiny. Everything looks so gigantic. Even the grass looked like trees to the ants. Did you guess what the pictures were before Grandma said it? That was a fun story, wasn't it? I love you. Bye-bye.